So hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, The Secret to Turning Your Website into a Conversion Machine. My name is Erin Branham. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Pinpoint. Today I have the pleasure to be joined by Antoine Dupont. He's the CEO of Catapult Marketing. Catapult is an internet marketing company that manages the web presence for business owners, and he helps them grow their business. So he's originally from Paris, France, and he knows how to create great stories. He has created copy for many websites that have seen a spike in conversions after they implemented his copy changes. And today, you guys are lucky enough to get some of his secrets. So with that said, I am positive you're going to enjoy this presentation. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our special guest, Antoine Dupont. Antoine?
Yes, hi Erin, good to be here again. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So hi everybody, thank you for joining us today for the secrets to turning your website into a conversion machine. There's a lot of content, I mean like a lot. There's a lot of slides and a lot of stuff that you're going to be learning today. The first is going to be why we redesign websites, messaging and conversion, how our brain works, the 7 elements of a story, the 7 questions to ask when reviewing a website. We're going to talk about the grammar test. Yeah, there is a test for grammars, and the 5 key elements of a successful website. Now, I know that there's a lot of slides that are going to go very quickly, and maybe you're not going to have enough time to write down everything that is there. But again, this is recorded, and you're going to get a copy of all those slides. So if you skip it, as Erin promised, you will get it within 24 hours. The entire content of this presentation is based on a book by Don Miller called Building a Story Brand, which is a book I discovered about a couple of years ago, and it has transformed how we build websites and how we write copy for the websites. So let me start by the presentation by saying that we collectively waste and have wasted in the past a lot of money on websites. We've spent an enormous amount of money, and over the years, we've wasted a lot of money on stuff that didn't necessarily work. And the reason why is because, we're trying to get some leads. We're trying to generate some leads with a new website. And we're thinking that, the design that we have is probably the problem, so we need to have a new website design, and that is going to fix the problem. The problem is our old design and the way it's laid out. Because right now we don't have enough leads. There's not enough people coming to our website. There's not enough people to convert. And what we want ultimately is we want people to flock to our website and order all day long all the things that we sell. So what we do is we hire a website designer that is highly qualified and has built beautiful website for a long time. Or we hire geeks. I have seen that people have, you go, it's not a designer, but it's more like a geek, like someone that knows the ins and outs of website, right? They know how it works, so they're going to be building something for us. And they're qualified. They have certification. They went to school for design. They have degrees, and they are experts in Java and HTML and whatnot. And they have all the certifications and the degrees to do that. And what the designer will do for us is they'll build a beautiful website. It's going to be beautiful, and you're going to go home and you're going to scroll, you're going to look at it, you're going to click on all the pages, and there you are, all happy with your beautiful website. But the problem is, after a while, we realize that didn't work. For some reason, it's beautiful, but that did not do the trick. It's not converting people. So what we do is, when we have the geeks building a website for us, they're going to build something that is very useful. So it's got all kinds of forms. It's maybe, if I have a 7-step forms, then people can fill out and just all these testing metrics, so they can put their URL and find out, this or that, or just, all kinds of gizmo that is going to get people to interact with your website. That's really what's going to do it. And again, that didn't work. We build that form, we build that thing, and for some reason, we're not generating any leads about it. And the reason why is because people buy things because the words they read gets them to take action. People buy things because the words they read gets them to take action. Explain to me Amazon if that's not true. Amazon is probably one of the ugliest websites you've ever seen. I mean, there's just nothing fancy or sexy. There's no design there. And yet it's selling millions of products probably by the hour. Let me show you an example of a website, and I'm just going to give you a case scenario. This is a website that I've actually extracted from the internet today. This is a perfectly beautiful website. It's got a great picture in the background. There's like 3 boxes in the bottom. There's a navigation. There's nothing wrong in essence with this website. It's beautiful, and the person that has built this website has probably spent quite a bit of money with it, a few $1,000s to have this built. But I just want you to guess something here. This website is a dentist. Yeah, it's a dentist in West Palm Beach, Florida. Now, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Now, you're looking at this website and it's like, well, is this guy selling real estate property? Like, I really don't get what this is doing. And this is what we end up doing with our websites because we have, and I don't know who decided on this picture, whether it was the dentist himself or whether it was the designer that thought that that was a good idea. But at one point, they agreed that that was the way to go. So, sorry. People, again, buy things because the words they read gets them to take action. So let's talk about that and let's look at this. So there actually are 2 things that people have, which is what you have to do is you have to understand people psychologically, because if you understand psychologically where they're coming from, then you can really get the website to do what it needs to do. The number one thing that we all do at the really basic level from our reptilian brain, from the core senses that we have is number one, we want to thrive and survive. And the second one is we want to conserve calorie. So thrive and survive is really displayed like we want to make sure that we're safe, right? That people are not out to get us. And then conserve calories is we're not looking for things to expand our calories, which probably explain why so many of us get a membership to the gym for the month of January and that we don't go the rest of the year. It's probably because we want to conserve calories. So this, in essence, when you're looking at this website and you think about it from this standpoint, this does not serve us at all. It doesn't tell us anything about thriving and surviving in the context of a dentist, and it certainly doesn't help me conserving calories because I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at here. I don't even know what this is. I landed on it, and probably after I told you it was a dentist, you figured it out. But if you're landing this as someone looking for a dentist, you're probably in a state of confusion. So this is not the way to go. And then there's other things that I see people and they say, well, we have beautiful and lots of words on our websites, and we have things like that, their mission statement and their vision statement. The problem with this is it's way too many words. Nobody is going to read this. Now, I mean, like, I really mean that. Nobody is going to read this thing. Like, your wife is going to read this. Your wife is going to tell you she read it and she lied to you. She didn't read it. She didn't really read it. She just glanced at it and says, good job, honey. Right? So this is pretty much what it's going to left us feeling. These websites, the dentist with the beautiful scenery and those words, we're left in a state of, what was that? So this is not the way to go. Now, one of the things that you want to understand is human beings spend 30% of their time daydreaming. 30%. So what we have to ensure is that our website does not take them to daydreaming. And the website of the dentist with the beautiful scenery is certainly a perfect recipe to get people daydreaming, wondering, when was the last time I went to the beach? I wonder if I should have another vacation and things like that. So this is really what we're trying to avoid. The best products and services don't win. They don't. It's the products and services that are communicated the clearest that will win. It's the clarity. in the communication that will win. Now, we lose a lot of business because we can't communicate clearly. If people land on the website and they don't have the clarity of what you're trying to communicate, they're going to move on. People will not burn the calories to try to understand what you're doing. This is the conserved calories. You have to remember is people are not going to try to decipher what you're trying to say. It needs to be super clear. And one of the things that we have been doing as human beings is we've been telling stories since the beginning of times. We absolutely love stories. There is nothing better for human beings. There's a matter of fact, what happens when you're around the Thanksgiving table or you're with friends in a restaurant and everything? We tell stories. Guess what happened to me the other day? This is what actually communication uh, is based on, is us telling each other stories. And it hasn't changed. It's still the same thing. Whether it was a caveman, we told stories with painting in caves, and now we watch stories on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook, however, and we communicate through stories. This is what we are doing. So there are 7 elements to a story. This is basically what we need to do to our websites. And there's 7 elements that we need to build our websites with. The first one is you need to understand that your website needs to have a hero. And you're not the hero. The customer is the hero. They are the hero. And a hero wants something. A story starts when we define what the customer wants. We actually need to convey that. And the common mistakes that I see with websites is people don't define the want that people have. Absolutely not. What they define is they define what they do, but they don't define what the customer wants, or they actually have way too many wants on the website. It's just cluttered with like you want this, you want this. It's just it doesn't have the clarity of what they want. Now, it needs to be a single focus and simple words, like no complicated word, no jargon, no complicated technophobia or techno words that nobody understands. Like really the simplicity is the key word there. So what we want in terms of when you want to think about now you got a sense of who your target market and you want to think about what do they want. There's 7 things that we want at the core level that all human beings want. The number one is we want to conserve resources. So conserve resources means that we want to keep what we have. The second one is we want to conserve time. We want more time for ourselves. We don't have enough time. The third one is we want to build social networks. So that means that I want more friends. I want more friends in my circle, right? I just want to have a bigger circle of friends. The fourth one is we want to gain status. That's usually around luxury. That's why people buy Lexus cars. There's no difference between a Lexus and a Toyota. It's the same car, but people buy a Lexus because it's a Lexus. It's a status issue. The fifth one is accumulated resources. Well, they want to make money. The sixth one is they want to be generous, which is philanthropy. I want to give back. And the seventh one is a desire for meaning. These are the 7 things that we want. Your customers will have 1 or 2, maybe 3 of those things. Usually it's either 1 or 2. For a lot of clients, it says, well, you know what? They want more money and more time. That's what they want. Or they want more meaning and more time. They have a desire for meaning. They want more meaning in their life and they want more time for themselves. That is the want, right? So you need to address what of those 7 things your target market or the hero in the story wants. And the hero always has a problem. And the problem is an external problem, an internal problem, or a philosophical problem. So an external problem is something like I don't have enough leads. I don't have enough customers coming to me, or I have a complex because it's out there, right? I have a toothache. That is an external problem. It's out there. It's just something that's happening. The internal problem is how is that making the customer feel? So how is that making me feel? So the feeling is I am frustrated by it. I'm overwhelmed by it. I'm stressed by it. So I don't have enough leads coming to my business, and I'm stressed out. Like that could be the want, their want. They don't have enough leads and they're stressed out about it. Now you have the internal lead, the internal pain. And the third one is the philosophical pain. How is this just plain wrong? So it ought to be. It shouldn't be like this, right? So I don't deserve this. So, it ought to be easier for me to get leads. Or why can I get leads? These are philosophical questions that people have in the background, which is different than an internal and an external question. And the buy now button resolve all those problems. Your call to action button resolves all those problems. Companies sell solutions to external problem. That's what the vast majority of companies do out there. And that's what I don't want you to do. What you want to understand is that people buy solutions to internal problems, not to external problems, to internal problems. The way you actually move the needle is by addressing how they feel about something. People justify buying for philosophical reason, right? So they buy for internal reason or emotional reason, and they justify it for philosophical reason. So if your website does not contain either or, this is why it's not converting for you. And I'm going to show you some examples so you understand what that means. So let's just take a look at this website, for example. That's a perfect example of what I've just talked to you about. And this website is what I will call the run-of-the-mill website that you and I see all the time, right? Affordable lawn care, reliable and insured since 1985. Learn more. Whatever version of that you see for affordable dentistry, reliable and certified since 1978, right? We just see tons of versions. This is the complete wrong approach. Now, let me show you a different approach based on very specific external, internal, and philosophical pain. Be the envy of your neighborhood. Let's be honest. Lawn maintenance is hard work and time consuming. Schedule a cut today. Now, obviously, if you can see the picture, this is a picture of a beautiful lawn for a beautiful house. So this is not people that are looking for a $50 cut, right? This is people that may have a $500,000 to $1 million home that want their lawn to be great. But the desire in there, what they want ultimately is not an affordable lawn care, but they want to be the envy of the neighborhood. That's what they want. And what we've addressed to underneath with the line is let's be honest, which is the philosophical approach to it. Lawn maintenance is hard work and time consuming. We've addressed two of the pain. There is nothing on this website that is about the company. It's 100% about the person looking at the website. There's nothing about the company. And the reason why is because ultimately nobody cares. We all want to know what's in it for us. And the call to action, by the way, is super, super clear. It's schedule a cut today. Nobody wants to learn more. Nobody wants to get started. They don't. They want to know how do I get that? How do I get started? All right. So the next thing, once we know what the hero is and what the hero wants, then there is a guide. And the guide is us, is the business owner, right? We're not the hero. We are the guide. And the guide is Yoda. What Yoda is to like Skywalker. Skywalker is the hero. He is the customer, and he has a problem. He needs to defeat the evil empire, right? And the Yoda is going to guide him. And the same thing with all the. And by the way, you can look at all the movies; they're all based on the exact same storyline. Mr. Miyagi with Karate Kid. Karate Kid is the hero. Mr. Miyagi is the guide. That's all he does. The Karate Kid needs to beat this bully kid, and Mr. Miyagi is going to guide him. That's who we are. We are the guide. We're not the hero. So people don't look for a hero. People want a guide. And a guide has empathy. Empathy, the two The two best quality for a leader or for a guide is empathy and courage, right? So what we want to display is empathy, and empathy starts with sentence like, I understand how you feel. Nobody should have to. Like you, we were frustrated with that. Tell people that you understand their pain. That's what they want to know, that you have empathy for them, right? And nobody should have to. And authority, testimonial. So the authority is actually displayed with testimonials and awards and certifications and membership to organizations that you have and clients that you may have. It's not about you talking about how great you are, but you basically are showing some testimonials of people using you. So it's not me saying it. We received some awards. We have certifications for some of the skills that we have. We have membership to those organizations, and those clients have trusted us. That's how people know that you have authority. The fact that you've been in business since 1985 doesn't mean anything to you and me. It doesn't. It really doesn't. You think it does because people say, well, they've been in business for 30 years. But at the core of it, we've known some companies that have been in business for 30 years and they suck. It's not a point. It's not a point that moves the needle. Now, people don't care about our story. They just really don't. Most people think that they do, but the fact that my grandpa started this company in 1928, it's not really compelling for most people. People are not that interested in your story. What I want to know is, how are you solving my problem? So the fourth thing that you need to have in a story is you need to have a plan. A guide has a plan. And the plan is a simple methodology. It's a process. It's just how you do things. And it's very simple, right? It's a 1, 2, 3 step or up to 6. I would stop it at 6, but I would say 3-step process is great. 1, strategy. 2, execution. 3, results. Simple. That's how we do things. So I know that you have empathy. I know that you understand my pain, and now you have a plan to get me there. A simple plan that I can understand. I don't have to burn calories to read your plan. I understand strategy, I understand execution, and I understand results. That makes perfect sense to me. And the call to action is schedule a call today, right? It's not learn more. It's what I need to be doing. People want a simple plan. Now, the fifth one is a call to action. Now, the call to action needs to be obvious and specific and strong and clear. Really, the keywords there is obvious and clear. The vast majority of call to actions that I see on websites are learn more, more info, and contact us. I mean, these are the most prominent one. And I'm here to give you some bad news. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to learn more about your company. They don't. They really, really, really don't. You need to stop believing that they want to learn more. They don't. They want to know how you're solving their problem, right? It's really not helpful. So it basically sounds like I have some good stuff, but I don't want to bother you. That's basically what you're saying when you're going to call to actions like that. What you need to be saying is you need to be saying, schedule a cut today, make an appointment, buy now. When I do this exercise with my clients, and it says, what is the first step that a customer is going to do with you when they hire you? And sometimes they says, well, they're going to call me on the phone and we're going to talk. And I says, okay, but what is it that you're doing? Is this a strategy session? What is this? Yeah. So the first thing is we're going to sit down and we're going to have a strategy session. Great. Then your call to action is schedule a strategy session. That is your call to action. It's not learn more. It's not contact me. It's schedule a strategy session. People need to know what is it that they need to do, right? And those are schedule a cut today, make an appointment, and buy now, or direct and obvious. This is what you want them to do. We are getting 3,000 messages a day, 3,000 individual messages of marketing a day. We're bombarded with TV, with Facebook, with Twitter, with everything that's got messages. So the last thing we need to do is confuse people with non-clear and non-obvious call to action. The sixth part of a story is success. What does success look like when they hire you? You must define what success will look like for them. You must define it. What is it going to look like? How is it going to look like financially for them, emotionally, physically, even spiritually, if that makes any sense for you? Now, when I ask this question to people, oftentimes they get stuck on spiritual. They're like, well, I don't know spiritual. And I'm like, well, let's think about it. And I had just someone that said, well, they feel more open. And I'm like, well, that is, they feel more open. If that's what you truly believe that people are feeling when they're buying your product and they're more open-minded, that's a little bit spiritual. And you need to be clear about that, financially, they're going to make more money. They're going to have more profit. Emotionally, they're going to feel relieved, happy. They're going to physically, I have someone that just recently said they're going to have a kick in their step, that they didn't know what physically. And I says, well, imagine the person using your service. How are they acting? And they're saying they have a kick in their step. And I says, yeah, that is an impact physically. They have a kick in their step when they're buying your product. Now, the last part and the seventh part of a story is you need to identify the failure. You need to raise the stakes, in other words. What failure will they avoid if they buy your service? Your website needs to identify that. You actually need to tell people specifically what will they avoid by buying your product. And tell them a before and after. What do they have before and what do they have after? What are they feeling before and what are they feeling after? And what is their status before and what is their status after? Once you define what failure will look like, people are much more likely to actually take action. So here are the 7 questions when you're looking at your website you need to be asking. Okay? The first one is, what do your customers want? And that's a 3 to 5 second rule. When you're looking at a website, is just, what do they want? Right? 3-5 second, you look at this website. Well, you could remember the dentist website with the beautiful scenery. What do they want? I have no clue when I look at this website. But when you're looking at this one, is they want to be the envy of the neighborhood, right? That's what they want. The second thing is, what are your customers' external, internal, and philosophical problem? Well, their internal problem is it's hard work and it's time consuming, and I want to be the envy of the neighborhood. These all 3 of them are right there. We have all 3 external, internal, and philosophical problem with this website. Now, are we positioned as the guide or the hero? Well, there's nothing in there about us being great. We're positioned as the guide. All we're going to do is we're going to cut the lawn because you want to be the envy of the neighborhood, but we haven't positioned ourselves as a hero at all. And the reason why is because we're not the hero. They are the hero. They want to be the envy of the neighborhood. And it is hard work and it's time consuming. Now, do you have a simple plan and a basic plan to win the day? What is your plan? Well, it's simple. 1, you schedule. 2, you relax. 3, you enjoy. It's just that simple. Schedule a cut today. I have a basic plan. Yes, even for lawn maintenance, it's like you need to have a plan because that's a plan that people will see. Look at that. It says, I schedule it. I relax while he cuts my lawn, and then I get to enjoy it. Yeah, I'm in. Sign me up. Are your calls to action clear and direct? Yeah, schedule a cut today. It's direct and it's obvious. It's not learn more. It's not contact us. It's not anything other that is exactly what we want them today. We want them to do. Schedule a cut today. Now, have we helped the hero imagine how we can improve their lives? Yeah. Well, they're going to be the envy of the neighborhood. That's how we've improved their life. It's going to be looking pretty good. They're going to, come out of their lawn, look at their neighbors and says, look at my lawn. Aren't I important? mean, obviously, if that's what they want, that's not necessarily the truth for everybody. But if that's your target market, that you may want to appeal to their ego. There's a matter of fact, if they have a Lexus or a Mercedes Benz in their garage, then probably one of the things that they're interested in is the envy of the neighborhood. Have we identified the consequences we are helping them avoid? Yeah, that's the next part on the website. Weeds attract insects and rodents that will decrease the value of your property, right? So you need to have a section in your website that actually addresses that. That is actually the consequences. That is the pain. That is going to be the failure. If they don't do something about it, weeds attract insects and rodents. And that is not good. That decreases the value of a property. Everybody can look at that and says, yeah, you're actually right. I ought to be doing something about that. It's a messaging problem. It's not a money problem. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on your new website. It's not the website that's the problem. It's the messaging. The messaging is all wrong. It's not doing the job to tell a story for people coming in your website and how you're going to improve their life and what they're going to get and based on what they want. So let's talk about the grandma test, because I think the grandma test is great. Everybody has a grandma. If you don't have a grandma, call me. I'll rent you a grandma. I have a couple of grandmas I have access to. And you're going to show them, you're going to show grandma your website. And here's what you're going to ask grandma. You say, can grandma easily answer those questions? First question, what do I get, grandma? I get my lawn cut. I get to be the envy of the neighborhood. That is just very clear. If you ask grandma with the first website that we saw with the dentist, grandma is going to be confused. She is not going to have a clue what this website is about. She's not, right? So grandma needs to tell you, what do you get? What do you get with this website? And how does it make your life better, grandma? Tell me. Well, I don't have to do the hard work, and it's very time consuming. So that's what is making my life better. I have more time for myself and I don't have to do the hard work. That's how it makes my life better. You're right, grandma. That's exactly what it does. How do I get it? How do I buy it, grandma? Well, it's pretty obvious. You schedule a cut today. That's what you do. Right? If she, it's not about learning more. Again, I want to insist on that because I've seen that learn more button so many times that that could count. It's not learn more. How do you get it? You schedule a cut today. That's grandma will tell you that. Then you won. Now, there's 5 key elements of the website that we're going to be talking about, like really like refining the machine here. So the first element is above the fold, and what I mean by above the fold is what's actually on the previous on the initial screen right before you scroll. It comes from the analogy of the newspaper. It was folded, and you can only see the front page. You didn't see the full thing. So above the fold, if you look at this website, this is really the most important thing, is get in the college of your dreams. This website said college prep and SAT prep for students, right? This is what they actually did. That's what they were doing. And it had nothing to do with the students and what the students actually want and the parents want is for their kids or themselves to get in the college of their dream, right? And then it's test prep and tutoring services to maximize your scores, right? They want to maximize the score. They want to have the best score so they can get into college. That's what they want. And then the dream is going to give them the philosophical need, right? Now, let's look at this website. I'm going to give you a before and after. This is a Scott Wintrip. We just redesigned his website just about a month ago. And Scott is a public speaker, and he speaks to human resource directors throughout the United States. So he's a specialist in hiring and recruiting. And if you look at this website, you actually have no idea what Scott really does other than speaking. Right? So it says speaking and it says Scott as your next keynote speaker. So it says it twice. And then you see Scott on stage and you see a guitar in the background. So right now you're looking at this and you're not entirely sure what this guy speaks about. You just know that he speaks, right? And maybe there's a guitar, maybe he speaks to the music industry. But in the 3 to 5 second rule, this does not say a lot. We worked on the story brand with Scott, and this is his new website. His new website has him in a video in the background where he's basically speaking. It's a silent video. You've probably seen that on quite a few websites lately. So it's just him speaking in the background, and it doesn't say anything. So I obviously can tell that he's a speaker. See, but people are not looking for a speaker. That's not what they want, right? They don't want a speaker. Obviously, that's how they're going to get the information that they want, but that's not what they want. So there's no reason for us to say Scott Rintrip is a speaker. Like, obviously, right? Or I should reference Captain Obvious here. What they want is they want to eliminate the stress and overwhelm of recruiting and hiring. When we actually talk with Scott, and it actually took us a while to get that. I says, what is the core problem of the people in your industry in the human resource department and people that have to hire? And they said they are completely stressed out and overwhelmed by the recruiting and hiring process in their corporation. And I says, what do you do for them? And I says, well, I eliminate that. And I'm like, bingo, that's what you do. You eliminate the stress and overwhelm of recruiting and hiring. And the sentence right below that, it says, hiring doesn't have to be a hassle. It doesn't. And then for all of them, it is a hassle. It's a pain in the rear. I don't know a lot of people that enjoy the recruiting and hiring people. And then the button is book Scott. It's direct. That's what you do. You don't call him. You don't contact him. You don't learn more about him. You just book him. Obviously, because he's going to eliminate the stress and overwhelm of recruiting and hiring. Now, here is my website, and I'm sorry if I'm not here bragging about my own services. That's not the point. The point is the title is business growth and marketing advice that works. Obviously this is catered to people that are looking to grow their business and would like to have some marketing advice that works because they've tried a lot of stuff that doesn't work. And the sentence below is really geared towards meeting planners because meeting planners are really the one that are hiring me when I speak publicly, right? I don't have the audience coming to my website. It's a meeting planner. So you want to think in terms of a meeting planner looking at his website and they're going to say, okay, got it. So it's business growth and marketing advice. Got it. Yeah, it makes complete sense. And again, the call to action is book Antoine now, right? The now is a little bit of a sense of urgency there. Clarity is the new creativity. See, the problem on your website is it doesn't need more creativity. It just needs a lot more clarity. So let's talk about the value prop on the website. The value prop is very simple. And this is based on the story brand, by the way. That is the story brand value proposition. Number one, create a buzz. Number two, learn a language that sells. And number three, become a marketing master. That is the value proposition to register for the story brand course and the register now button. It couldn't be any simpler. And right above that, there is actually a sentence by Michael Hyatt that says, this is the best marketing innovation I've seen in years. 1, 2, 3. That's the value prop. I know exactly what I'm getting. So what's in it for them, in essence, with the value prop? Now, the third one is the easy plan, right? You need to have a plan, right? 1, schedule. 2, relax. 3, enjoy. Your website absolutely, unequivocally needs to have a plan. People need to know, what is it that I will have to do in order to make this work, right? What is it? What is entailed in me? And here is very, very easy. I schedule, I relax, then I enjoy it. I'm in. Sign me up. You have to overcome the resistance that people have to hiring you. The fourth one is testimonial. So the testimonial on the vast majority of websites actually are done wrong. First of all, people sometimes have too much or they don't have enough, right? Or they are in the landing page with all the testimonial. That is the wrong way to do testimonials. Testimonials need to be part of the build-up of the page and needs to be in context of what you're saying. So if you're selling web services, for example, then the testimonials needs to be around web services. right? So I mean, I know that that makes complete sense, but sometimes you will have testimonials that are not 100% related to the specific product and service that people are looking at. Now, ideally, it will have a picture of the people and the name and the company or the city that they're from. And the reason why is because all of us know that the testimonial are not really objective, because I haven't seen anyone putting a bad testimonial on their website. So we know that nobody is going to be putting a bad testimonial. So we don't necessarily trust it that much. But actually what we're looking is, what are people like me are saying, or how do people, what are people looking that are buying this service? We're trying to see, do they look like me? Do they give me a sense that this is a tribe that I belong to? So if I can see my tribe in the testimonial, I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable buying your product. So your testimonial need to highlight a success or overcome a resistance. What I mean by that is, oftentimes we have testimonial, like, or you ask a testimonial to people and then they're just writing a whole bunch of stuff, but just have them tell you, like, how does that change your life in terms of what kind of success did you get out of using my services, or how did you overcome a resistance? That is the type of testimonial that we that are the most effective. Four testimonials at most. I will tell you that um, having 12, 15, 20 testimonials on a page long, it just does not serve you at all. I would say, 2 to 4 on a page is more than enough. Again, it's not about the volume. People are not trusting and not reading those testimonial. Like, we're going to read reviews. Reviews is one thing. Testimonial is a whole different ball game. Like, people think that they read your testimonial like they read reviews. That's not true. What they're looking for is this my tribe? And what is the most common resistance? What is the most common resistance to your product? Right? What are people afraid of? It's too much money, or it's too complicated, or it takes too much time. Have testimonial actually talk about, wow, I really thought it was going to take me forever to do that, and it really didn't. Right? It just took me a lot less time than I thought. All right. So, and then the next question is, will it work for me? Right? In terms of testimonial, that's what people want to know. Will it work for me? Now, the fifth part, a component of a website, is failure. So, in terms of failure, is, how much is your unclear message costing you? Like, asking questions. How many customers can't hear your offer? How many people are passing up your business? These are the questions you need to ask people at the bottom of your website. You've told them the success they're going to get. You give them the testimonial, but then you need actually have to ask hard question. How much is it costing you to not hire me? What is the impact on you, your time, your family for not doing this? You need to ask this question, because if you don't ask these questions, then people are not necessarily going to be impacted. They're not going to feel it deep down in their bones. On that note, the entire content of his presentation was based on the book by Donald Miller, Build a Story Brand. I hope you got an enormous amount of value. I hope you made tons of notes. I can't wait in the Q&A to hear maybe some of the key takeaways that you got from this presentation. But that wraps up this presentation. And Aaron, back at you.
Awesome. That was so good. I know I'm going to use some of these tips, just reevaluate the websites I've done, and so
Right.
I'm sure the audience got a lot out of it too.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
do have
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. It's like, when I got, after I read the book, and I've been, I'm gonna give you the honest truth is, I've been building websites since 1999, so I've been this like almost 20 years. And I was so mad I didn't have this book 20 years ago, because it would have made my life so much easier. When I read it, I went back and it made me sick to my stomach, because I was looking at a lot of websites that we build, and I was like, oh God, like, how do you, how, and it's such a simplicity, and it's in its execution, and it does make a huge difference. It really does make a huge difference for companies. Their conversion rate is, on average, increased by 30 to 40%, just changing the messaging on the website.
Right. No, I mean, there's a lot of good writers out there, and you just need to be reminded of these things to kind of bring that to the front and let your writing shine.
Right,
So,
right.
okay, so I do have some few questions here. So some people are not ready to purchase or talk to you. So how do you change your CTA to meet that?
Well, the CTA is simple. The CTA is what you want people, what should people do when they're ready to talk to you, right? It's not
Okay.
necessarily they want to buy, but what is the first step, right? The first step may be a schedule a consultation. For example, maybe the first step is a free consultation, because in that consultation, that free consultation for 30 minutes is designed to identify whether that customer is a good fit for you or not, right? So then it's schedule a free consultation. That is your call to action. The call to action needs to be the first step of what you do with those people. That is just the first step, whatever that is, right? If it's schedule a design call, buy this product, I mean, whatever it is just needs to be super direct and super obvious to what they're going to be doing the first time they engage with you, whether they pay you or not. That is the call to action.
Right. Okay, perfect. I have quite a few questions coming in. I think everybody was so engaged that they waited till the end for their questions.
Perfect.
Okay, so how do you adjust the guidance for B2B? And I know you and I were talking about this kind of before the webinar. This particular person is in the telecom space, and their target audience is Verizon, AT&T, Swisscom, etc.
Mm-hmm. Which is it's the exact same issue. I mean, what is their, what I want to know is, no, I know that. I want to know what's their pain. What is their external, internal, and philosophical pain? Like I want to know, I want to know that, and your website is built around that. So I mean, I don't know what their pain is. Most of the time, the external pain is very easy. Oh, they want more this. Okay, got it. Great. So how does that make them feel that they don't have that? That is the next question. And they're saying, well, they're frustrated, or they're anxious, or they're, discouraged, whatever it is. Okay, great. Now I have the internal pain. And then what is the philosophical pain? It ought to be different. Why is it so complicated? Why can't I get this? Why am I always behind? Right? So then once we have that, then we can start crafting a message that actually appeals to that pain. Because people are actually buying product based on an internal pain, and it's justified for a philosophical one. They don't buy from external pain. They don't buy for that. We need to know what the external pain is, because the external pain gives us access to the internal and the philosophical pain. That is the gold in this presentation. Once you nail the internal and the philosophical pain, you can pretty much sell anything you want, because you've got them. And whether they're B2B, whether it's a grandma buying a little thing, or it's a big company buying things, we are buying product to solve a problem we currently have. That's really what we buy. Nobody else. I mean, just telling, like, we're talking about, think about CRM, because CRM is a perfect product. CRM sells two things. Nobody wants a CRM. We don't. There's not one person in their right mind that wants a CRM or an email marketing. Here, let's be straight, like pinpoint.
Right.
Nobody wants email marketing. We don't. I could swear to you that you do not want email marketing. What you want is, you want to grow your business. That's what you want to do. So Pinpoint is not selling email marketing. It's selling business growth, or it's increasing your visibility, or it's staying in touch with people that matter to me. Now we're starting to talk, but it's not email marketing. I can tell you, there's nobody in their right mind that woke up in North America and says, you know what I need today is email marketing or CRM. That's going to make my life better. right? So that's really the core of this, is find what the core problem is, and you are a solution to that. Now, who could remember, like, now, let me just throw one at you, and I hate when people that they throw Steve Jobs and Apple, or now lately Amazon and Jeff Bezos, like it's, but I don't know if you remember that Apple actually sold their product by saying challenging the status quo, right? They sold their product based on appealing to people who wanted to be different, right? People wanted a cool product that was theirs. They were not selling a computer. They were challenging the status quo. There's a different feeling. I mean, I'm doing this presentation from a Mac, but I have a Droid as a phone. But I can tell you, I know that people are fanatical about the mobile phone, and it's not about the mobile phone that represents an idea, because it resolves it's an internal pain, the desire for meaning, the desire to be different. That's what they sold. That's why Apple became so big. They understood that. Steve Jobs nailed this. It says, we're not selling computers. That's not what we're selling. We're not selling mobile phones. We're not selling iPods. That's not what we're doing. We're challenging the status quo. So for B2B, it's the same thing.
Awesome. Yeah, so we have a lot of people actually asking this. If you have 2 or 3 different types of customers, do you select one and to make the website the most effective, or do you build separate landing pages? How do you deal with that when you have
So
different audiences?
yeah, Scott Wintrip was a great example, and the vast majority of my clients are actually like that. That's one of the key things. Oh, my business is so complex, right? You don't understand. I have 3 divisions, or we have three different states that we're dealing with, right? And Scott Wintrip was one. He has, in his human resource business, he has. He appeals to human resource directors, which is one, people that actually are hiring, they're doing the hiring inside of a company. And he has recruiters, right, which is a completely different, it's the same industry, but it's a completely different idea. And I can't remember the third one. I think the third one are the internal managers inside of a company that have to manage that. Completely different need. Like the manager is looking at his department, the human resource director is looking at the entire company, and the recruiter is looking, how am I going to be making money this quarter, right? In his entire speeches, he has 3 different speeches that are catered to those different segments, or he doesn't deliver the same speech. And it was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I says, at the core of it, they're all feeling a unique pain that is unique to all of them. And that's how we actually came to eliminate the overwhelm of hiring and recruiting, the stress and overwhelm of hiring and recruiting, because that is a unique pain that they all have, regardless of where they are. So I would be looking for, I would be doing, and not knowing what this business is about. Obviously, I'm talking, I'm talking blind here, but I would say let's see if there is a commonality between all of those. Like, let's look at the pain of Division A, and then let's look at the pain of Division B, and let's look at the pain of Division C, and see if it's in there like a red thread line, like a red line that kind of like, look at that. Across the board, they're all dealing with the same thing, right? So that would be how I would go that. If they're really that much different, then I would like consider 2 things. And it says, is there a dominant one? Is there one that actually is generating 80% of your business? Then I would say, well, let's go with this one. Or and then make this one prominent on the website, and then have the other one as secondary or internal pages. Or I would consider creating 3 websites. I mean, a website that these days doesn't cost a fortune. And I think that you could have, a website for each division that address the unique needs, wants, and pain of that target market related to your specific product. I mean, I would have 3 websites. So not knowing what this is, these are how I would navigate that.
Okay, Awesome. I like that. It's because, so I've had quite a few questions coming in about specific industries, like how do you address, one of them was nonprofit, one of them was attracting executive level or senior level lawyers and clients, not the law firms. And then, and there's a few different more. Can you just reiterate, what you said before about it doesn't matter what industry it is, you're still asking the same
It's
questions.
the exact same question. The process is the same thing. See, the philosophical or the system here is to understand their pain, is to understand that people buy for internal pain and justify it with for philosophical reasons, regardless of what industry. I mean, regardless of what industry. And I know that for some people that's challenging because most of people what they have on their website is what they do.
Right,
This is what the vast majority of us do. You're looking at it's kind of like I think that you saw this presentation. It made a lot of sense, and you agreed with a lot of it. I'm pretty much sure there's a lot of stuff you saw on that, and there's not a lot of people that disagreed with anything I said because it makes complete sense. It
right,
just hits it right on the head. You're like, oh, darn it, how it's just so right. But the thing is, it's regardless of the industry, regardless of what you're doing, the same philosophical idea works. We buy things for internal pain and we justify it for philosophical reasons. It doesn't it doesn't change. You have to address that. So if you're selling to executives, what is their pain? That's my question. And I know that's not easy because I do this with all my clients now. For the last 2 years, we've been doing that for our clients. And this is the first bump in the road we have. Oh, what's their pain? Well, the pain, we're starting to deal. So what we do is we approach it. What is their external pain? Why are they complaining about? And then you go from one of it starts with one of the seven things, right? They want to conserve what they have. They don't have enough time. They want a desire for meaning. They want more money. They want to be philanthropic. And I don't remember all seven of them. Hold on. I have the paper right here, right? So it's one of those seven things. They want to conserve resources, conserve time, build social network, gain status, accumulate resources, being generous, and desire for meaning. Your customers fall into one of those seven categories, right? Which if it's conserved time, then we just know that's that. They want more time. They don't have enough time, or they want more money, right? Or they want more status. That once you have that, and you say, okay, yeah, that is what they want. That is the want. That is the core. You start from the want. Then once you have the want, you look for the pain. Okay, what is the pain associated with that? Externally. What are they saying? Well, I don't have enough time for my kids, or I'm spending too much time at work, or um, I'm overweight, or I can figure this out. Like whatever it is, right? They're saying that around the want, and then the question after that is, how is that making them feel? And then once you have that, then you have the internal feeling. Well, that's making them feel anxious, frustrated, uh, you know, not good, like stressed out, overwhelmed. I mean, all those bad feeling. And then the next
right,
one is philosophical. And once you have what they want, you nail what they want, and then you have their external, internal, and philosophical pain. The rest of it just comes out because then you know immediately what your tagline is, because your tagline is you're going to give them what they want based on their pain. And then all of a sudden people are like, bingo, that's exactly what I was looking for.
right. Okay, I know it's the top of the hour here. Do you have time for, I have two more questions. Do you have time for them?
Aaron, anything for you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so what is your opinion on the homepage sliders? And I know this is, above the fold, so I would imagine it's exactly what you were just saying, addressing that pain, but
Right, the sliders are useless. And I'm trying to be I'm trying to be nice about it. Um, all the data is telling us that sliders are completely ineffective. And I mean like completely ineffective. That
Okay.
means that people stand, they look at the first picture, they don't look at the second, two, three. Some of them have like up to 7 slides. So it's a complete waste of time because you're spending an enormous amount of time on creating slides that people are not going to be spending time um, looking at. What people on the homepage, I would have only one picture, and the picture needs to show people a context of how it is to work with you in terms of you want to display something that is successful. What I mean by successful is you don't want people like like jumping in the horizon with the sunset behind them and being all happy, which is a stock picture, which looks awful. But just really a picture of context of if you're a law firm, then show people inside of a room, real picture of real people inside of a real conference room, shaking hand, looking happy. They just signed a deal. Like that's the context. And please stay away from those, stock pictures with people with perfect blonde, blue eyes and perfect teeth. It doesn't serve you because it looks awful. But I would look for a picture like that. A lot of I'm seeing more and more and more of videos on the homepage slider, a 30-second silent loop. That seems to be very effective for the homepage slider above the fold.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard that this is great to hear because I've heard, 3 sliders max, but if, what you're saying is true, then
No,
the other 2 are
no,
pointless.
actually, it's a one slider, one picture max.
Okay,
Do
great.
not,
All
yes,
right.
yeah.
What are your thoughts? This is a little bit separate, but what are your thoughts about blog posts?
Uh, Tell me more about that. So blog posts, I love blog posts. I think blogs are great. But you mean like blog posts on the homepage?
Um,
I guess
I
maybe
don't.
I think that what my thought on the blog post. So you should definitely have blogs. I don't necessarily think that they have a place on the homepage from my standpoint because I don't know what they add to the story. The story
Okay.
is a hero that wants something that's based on pain, and you're displaying empathy, authority. You're giving them what success is going to look like, and you're going to tell them what is the failure they will avoid if they don't buy it. And
So what if they're using your site now? Just because I've seen this on several clients that I've worked with, that the blog posts are actually getting the most views. And when I put the blog posts or something that directs them to the blog posts on the home page, people are going to the blog posts more because they're, trying to get educated
right,
and they
so
see you as a leader in the market.
right, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but if they are, they should be all the way at the bottom.
Right,
Kind of like wrap
for
up with
sure.
the call to action. You could put our 3 latest blogs. That's perfectly fine. My Here's from an SEO standpoint. People actually are why your blogs are actually getting a lot of traffic is because people are finding your blog from the internet and they go directly to your blog. They don't get to your blog from your homepage. They get to your blog directly from the blog because it's, for example, email marketing 101, how to be successful with email marketing in 2018, right? Great blog. That's
Right.
how they're actually getting to your website. It's not like they got to your homepage because they were not looking for, oh, let me look for pinpoint, email marketing. They're looking for a solution to their problem, how to be successful with email marketing in 2018, or what doesn't work with email marketing anymore, right? Whatever it is, right? So people are going to find a blog and now they've landed on your website. So your traffic with your blogs comes directly from the blogs, not from the homepage. I would want to see data that would show me otherwise, that actually traffic, I'm seeing so the vast majority of our clients, because we write amazing blogs for them because we know the importance of that. We know that the top 10 pages on their website is usually their homepage, one service page, maybe two service page, and the rest is the blogs we wrote. So the vast
Right.
majority of the traffic going to the website is the blogs, but they get there directly. They just search for a term It gave them your blog as a source. Now they get to your blog. Now, what you want to do is, my question would be, how do you direct people from the blog back to the homepage where you're basically telling them a story of who you are? That is more the challenge. So this is why I don't know that your blogs are serving a purpose on the homepage. Now, they're serving a purpose on a landing page. See, if you have email marketing, how many services page do you have on the Pinpoint website, Aaron? Do you know on top of your head?
I think it's just one. It's
Right.
one main
Well,
service page.
and I'll use me. So that'll be catapult marketing. Let's just say I have four different product. I have web development. I have SEO. We have video marketing and content marketing. Right. So those are four individual landing page on our website. What is ideal is to actually put blog posts at the bottom of those pages that relate to web development. Right. So on the web development page, I have the three top blogs that are actually generating the most traffic. So then I'm actually getting people into a loop, right? They're getting to a landing page if they're looking at that. Now they're getting into a blog and they're staying on the websites longer. So that's for
Right.
me, the blog. That's where I see the blog. You need to have a landing page, but the blog itself is the hook.
Right.
That's what brings people to your website. The question is, once they're on the blog, then what? What do? They read the blog and they move on, right? You need to have something else. You need to give them, hey, why don't you check this out? Why don't you check those other blogs? Trying to keep them to continue on your website, because even if they don't buy anything from you, the signal that these people are on your website and spending quite a bit of time serves you as showing your website being relevant for those keywords.
That makes total sense.
Strangely enough.
Right. Thank you. I know I learned a lot today, and I've been
Mm-mm.
marketing for quite some time, so this was super helpful. So thank you so much.
No, you're
And
quite
we've been
welcome.
getting comments saying, again, we always get this when you present, this is the best webinar I've attended in a while. I've learned so much. So thank you.
My pleasure. It's always my pleasure to do a webinar with you, Aaron, and look forward to doing another one.